Rock stars, Eric Andreas, your guitar sage. Welcome to the Guitar Show. It's March the 6th. We're going to have a lot of fun today, and I'm going to be talking to you about what a repairman taught me about the blues. I know it's a strange little title, but I promise you it'll pay off. And because of it, because of what this repairman clued me into as to what I was clueless about, it actually spawned a bunch of videos that I did and just a different way that I think about the guitar. So I'll be sharing that with you here in just a moment. We got the playing out of the way in the beginning there. Maybe I'll do something later on. We'll see. We'll see what we got time for. But we're doing this to be more efficient so we can get to your questions quicker, because you guys can hear me play anytime, and you can hear folks a lot better than me playing on the YouTube. So why not just do that? But nonetheless, I really want to get to your questions. That's why we're here live, so we can, so I can answer the questions to the best of my ability to help you move to the next level in guitar. And in doing so, I'm also going to be letting you know about different links and that sort of thing that I have available for you, because oftentimes the questions that you guys ask might really need a lengthier question. And instead of taking 15, 20 minutes for each one of those questions, obviously, since we have hundreds of people watching, sometimes thousands, when it's all said and done, I really want to make sure everybody gets their questions answered, and I'm at least pointing you in the right direction. Okay, if I can answer it quickly, then I'm going to do that as well. So a few matters of business today. You're going to find, and you're going to hear me talk about it a lot, you are going to find a couple links, several links actually. You're going to see in the description of the video, both on Facebook and YouTube. Instagram's watching as well today, so hello Insta. And there's going to be 3 links, okay? Minimum 3 links that we're going to be putting up here. And they are /30, YourGuitarSage /30. Friends, this is the quintessential course that you need to take. It's free, step by step. It's for beginners, it's for intermediates, for advanced. It's absolutely going to cover all the bases to get you a good, solid foundation, okay? I'm going to be talking about that a whole bunch. Because a lot of the videos that I have for you are going to be in there. The /1 for those folks that know about and have been in the system and you want to kind of move up to the next level, YourGuitarSage.com/1. That's a $1 trial to get in to see everything. Over 1,000 videos, over 600 jam tracks. Private live broadcasts from me. So where I say private as in just the folks that are inside the Unstoppable Guitar System. And then you can see all the other UGS courses at YourGuitarSage.com/UGS. Okay, coolio. We'll be talking, I've got the pedal cam set up today, so if you have questions about looping and pedals and that sort of thing, I could do that. And, oh yes, post. We have a post that's on Instagram today. We're awarding a winner. If we didn't already do it, then there's going to be already one winner this week, but then there's going to be another one. See this post right here? This guy that looks a lot like me. This is on Instagram. You're going to be looking for that background, okay? Make sure that it's the right background. Make sure it's the right picture. Otherwise, you will not be entered into the contest, right? Going live 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. You see that there. There's 3 things you need to do. Here they are. You ready? Number 1, like the picture. Number 2, comment on the picture. And 3, obviously you need to be following us on Instagram, okay? Coolio. And by doing so, that enters you into the contest to win a lifetime membership to the Unstoppable Guitar System /365, that big enchilada that I was just telling you about. Cool? All right, good. Let's do this. You'll hear me talk about that a bit later as well, okay? All right, let's get into this. All right, so I'm going to start today, questions on Facebook. Oh, let me go into what that repairman taught me, and then we're going to go into questions on Facebook first, and then over to YouTube, okay? Okay, so first off, I got a buddy. He's a buddy now. His name's Johnny, and he has been our repairman for, I don't know, a few years now. Redid our bathroom and all these other bits and pieces. I knew he was a great guitar player, and I had heard him play and knew that he played in cover bands and stuff like that. And we were just talking one day about the blues. We're just shooting the crap, just like RJ and I were yesterday. And RJ showed me like 4 new things that I just hadn't even thought of. You know what I mean? As guitar players, we kind of go down a whole rabbit hole and we come up with all these little gems, right? And so I was talking with my buddy Johnny, and we were talking about the blues, and I was saying to him, it's such a strange such a strange genre of music because it's thought of as being so simple, okay? And it is, it can be. You can play with 5 notes, right? Your average scale has 7 notes in it, or your basic diatonic scale has 7 notes in it, whereas the pentatonic scale has 5 notes in it. The blues scale has 6 notes in it. But realistically, when we're playing blues the way that the masters do, you know, folks like Stevie Ray Vaughan and B.B. King and all the Kings, Albert, you know, just all those guys, all the classics, right? They played it differently. What they did is they mixed major and minor blues. And by doing that, what ends up happening is out of the 12 possible notes, and there's only 12 notes that you can choose from if you're playing, you know, Western music. And what I mean by Western is not Aboriginal music where you have microtones, not Indian music or something like that, okay? That's not Aboriginal, but you know what I'm saying. Not microtonal music, which you're probably not familiar with whatsoever. Talking about half steps. If we're talking about half steps, there are only 12 of them before they start repeating again. That's the whole rainbow, okay? It's the whole musical rainbow. If the regular color rainbow is Roy G. Biv, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, then we've got the 7 notes in the scale, right? But in between there we have all these other notes. It's called chromatic. Chroma meaning color, and we have all the different hues of the rainbow there, right? So 12 of them to be exact. Well, blues, if you're playing it in major and minor, so you're kind of dabbling back and forth between these two, you literally have 10 of the 12 notes to choose from. Now, this is pretty bizarre, and that's not what my buddy taught me. Basically, what this guy clued me into for all the years that I had been playing blues, and you're going to see some videos that I put up about this recently, where whenever I played blues, I always played minor blues. I knew the concept of major blues. I knew that early on, but it never made sense to me from in my heart, where I could play and I could hear it, it sounded right, and it made sense to me. Now, when I heard other people do it and do it right, like country guitar, which is filled with loads of major pentatonic and major blues, right? That's like the bulk of what those country players are doing when they're soloing and that sort of thing. And so I knew the concepts for these types of things, but I didn't really actualize them into my own playing. And I sat down with Johnny one day, and he just showed me some bits and pieces, and he's like, well, this is how I think of this, and this is how I think of that. And it really expanded my mind, and, well, gosh, I just don't think of it that way. And I need to, because I can bring some new pieces to my own playing. And so because of that, what I was able to do is I was able to go, wow, really, out of these 12 notes, we're playing 10 of them. And that's pretty cool, because other than maybe jazz, and even that would be a stretch. You'd be adding 3 more notes to what it is that you're doing. There's not a lot of genres where you're using that many notes, okay? Yeah, you can do it in classical. Yes, you can do it in jazz. You can do it in anything, really. But when you're listening to a basic song, a basic classical piece, or a basic jazz piece, or a basic rock piece, you're just not going to have all those notes in there, where blues is using it all day long. It's just all over the place, okay? And I'll just give you an example here really quickly, and then we're going to go to some questions here on Facebook and then over to YouTube, okay? So let's just, for an example here, just say we're in the key of A, okay? And I've got an A7 here. Well, most folks will take the blues scale here, or we'll take the A minor pentatonic. Okay. Now, let's do this. Let's zoom up on this a little bit here. So we've got our basic pentatonic, right? Minor pentatonic. Now we could come over here and say, okay, we could also play major blues, right? Or major pentatonic. But let's think about it all in the same area here, okay? So if we're talking adding major and minor blues, we've got the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4. I'm sorry. Let's do this again. We got the 1, we got the 2, we got the minor 3, we got the major 3, we got the 4, we got the flat 5 or the sharp 4, however you want to call it. We got the 5, we've got the 6, and we got a flat 7, and then back to our 1 again. So you've got this whole row of 2, flat 3, 3, 4, flat 5, and 5 all together, like literally. All those notes are pretty free to use in blues. Now, with that being said, if I have a blues progression going and I'm just kind of going like this and noodling around in these notes, it's not going to sound like we want it to sound, because it has everything to do with the execution of the words and how that you put those words together. Now, for some of you right now, you're going, I know, Eric, that's the thing I'm having a problem with. How do I get that? Okay, let's think about this for a moment. Our brains work best with association. That's why I'm always telling you stories, okay? If I could tell you a shorter way, I would if it was as powerful, but association is very, very powerful because we're using something that you already know and we're attaching something to it, which makes you go, oh, okay, I get it. Whenever you have an aha moment, that's what it is. You're connecting it to something else that you know, and now all of a sudden you have this new light that comes on, okay? I get this all the time inside the program. Folks are saying that all the time. Oh, the lights are going on. So, when it comes to playing the blues here, and I literally just lost my train of thought, but it'll come back to me in just a moment. I know what it was. It's this. So just because, and I say this all the time, if a child is given a dictionary, they have all these words to choose from. Now think about this. You're the child in this case, and the words are notes. And you're like, yeah, well, I have all these notes, and I'm using all the notes, but I don't know why it doesn't sound good. Well, just like a child, or conversely like a child is going to learn phrases first, okay? They don't even know what the words mean. They just know that if they go blah, 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 I gotta go to the potty, that parent's really quickly going to get that kid on the potty. Why? Because they don't want to mess, right? So kid doesn't even know how to spell, doesn't know how to read, doesn't know what the words look like, may not even know what the individual words sound like. I know this because I have a 21-year-old and I also have a 3-year-old, and I'm going through it all again. And he'll say things sometimes because he's heard me or his mom say something, and we're like, where did he get that? That's wild. Obviously, he just heard it. So in this way, as we're playing, really what we're doing is we're mimicking what it is that we're hearing. And this is the first part of playing guitar. So but if you were just given the words, you're not going to know the syntax or the order that they should go in to get what it is that you need to get, right? If you take Johnny bit the dog or the dog bit Johnny, we're using the same exact words, but the syntax has changed, right? So it means something entirely different. So instead of saying, well, Eric said we could play, he said, let's see, he said 1, 2, this is actually 1, 2, 3. He said major 3, 4, flat 5, 5. So he's saying we could play all those notes, and then we got the blues going, the blues chord progression going. And you're like, okay. And you're like, well, why doesn't that sound good? Because we wouldn't do it like that. We might go. What we're doing is we're using those notes within phrases, but we may not use them all at the same time. A little goes a long way, okay? So if that didn't get you an actual concept of what it is that we're trying to do here, then we need to stop there. We need to keep we need to get to some questions here. But hopefully that just gives you a concept first, because obviously what I just told you isn't going to get you to play the blues really well, but it's going to get you to start conceptualizing that, oh, really what we need to do is we need to learn phrases. And indeed, that's what it's all about. It's learning phrases and understanding too that we can use major and minor when it comes to blues, because it really is a major chord progression that we're using. If we're talking about dominant chords, right, the 1 7 4 7 5 7, we're talking about blues. Or even if it's just plain old 1 4 5, you know, A major, D major, E major, it's all going to be major. But we can also use minor over that, because it's blues, and that's what it does. Now, friends, listen to me. Sometimes I'm going to be saying things that are going to go over your head. This is what people's knee-jerk reaction is. Oh my God, guitar is so hard, I can't do this. He's going too fast. Meanwhile, there are people who are more advanced than what I'm speaking about right now, and they go, God, this guy's going so slow, okay? Everybody, just hold on for a minute. What we need to do for those folks that need that extra information, that's what the free course is about. Once you start understanding these basic things I'm saying, it's just like if you were any other basic thing that you're trying to learn, okay? If you know the basics first, if you have that good foundation, you don't get lost. And then every time you get a new concept, you're stacking on top of it. If you're not, you don't have that foundation, yeah, you're screwed, indeed. Like in anything, okay? Language, learning a language, learning how to walk a tightrope. If you're not listening, and you don't have the basics, you're screwed. So indeed, and that's what that free course is about. Take advantage of that free course, YourGuitarSage.com/30, and then when you're watching these live broadcasts with me, you're not gonna be lost, okay? Okay, coolly up. All right, here we go. I'm only getting to those that I see a question mark for, okay? Now, with that being said, someone wrote a really long one here, and I may see if there's a question in there, just because he did a lot of work here. Okay, so this is Ryan on Facebook, and he's saying, when I was younger with my original guitars, I wasn't necessarily rough with my guitars, but I did mistreat them a bit. I got in my head once without having any concept of what I was doing. Woo! Hey, we just got a donation on YouTube. My friends, every now and then you're going to hear a little interruption like that. I love those interruptions because basically it says that somebody has donated something. So look, hey Mike, what's up? Thanks, brother. Meet up at Groon on March the 26th at 1 p.m. That's right. If you guys want to meet me here in Nashville on March the 16th, I'm going to be at Groon Guitar. Yep, that Groon Guitar at 1 p.m. We're going to have a blast. There's no playing per se, but I'm going to be meeting you guys, shaking hands, shaking babies, that sort of thing. I'll never shake a baby. I'm going to be kissing babies and shaking hands. We're going to be talking about guitars and just all that good stuff. So, and you get to be in one of the coolest guitar retailers in Nashville, right? We've got a few of them here: Carter's, Groon, Rumble Seat. We're really blessed to have a lot. But nonetheless, join me there, okay? Thank you so much, Mike. I appreciate that. So if you hear an interruption like that, little musical thing, it's because folks over on YouTube are donating. You'll see a little smiley face, and right next to that, there's a little super chat button. If you click that, you can actually donate to the lunch fund, okay? Okay, so back to Facebook here. Ryan's saying, I got in my head once without having any concept of what I was doing to mess with the trem spring setup. So in the back here, right, the tremolo springs, the saddle springs, and I even painted one. Needless to say, I royally screwed that guitar up. Probably best I sold it, but I am sure the guy who got it was shaking his head when I went to get it running again. Will be interesting to hear what Eric has for us. Maybe it's not broken, don't fix it. Or even better, if you're not the expert, don't touch it regardless. Whatever, it should be fun. I agree, Ryan, and as the years have progressed, as I've gotten older in age, I don't mess with my guitars hardly at all, unless it's a real simple fix or it's a get me by type of thing. Let's say my action, wasn't good on one of these strings, and I knew that I could just raise the saddle just a little bit. I might do something like that. That's me, because I know I can get away with that, where somebody else might not know what to do. For me, I'm not going to adjust the truss rod and stuff like that. I just don't like to mess with it. You can learn how to do it. I don't have the time to do it. So I would prefer to give that to an expert. Greg Ellis is my go-to guy for that here in Franklin. Franklin Guitar Repair. Check him out if you're ever in Franklin. Bring your guitar by, and he'll get you set up. He's amazing. Okay. All right, sweet. All right, and if you guys missed it yesterday, RJ Ronquillo was with us, and he is a fantastic dude, an amazing player, does these amazing gear reviews, great YouTuber, he's a live performer, a studio dude. He does everything, and so he just very, very talented. I say talented, you know what I mean. He's practiced his ass off is what he's done. He's a hard worker. That's what it comes down to, okay? But nonetheless, he was here yesterday, and if you missed that, you need to check it out because he had some really good gems, okay? That'll be on my YouTube channel and on Facebook as well. Okay, so Ryan's saying, yesterday RJ was talking about Mixolydian and Dorian. I looked them up not knowing what they were. I see they are 7 modes. At some point, the entire fretboard is fair play. You can defer to it if you want, but does not come up in the but does this come up in UGS at some point? Yes, indeed. It is. I have a whole section of it inside of the Unstoppable Guitar System. And does it help clear when and where you say you should transition to these modes? Very simply, working in pentatonics or blues scales. Okay, so listen to me and listen carefully because I don't want you to hear me wrong. Because if you hear me wrong, you're going to misquote me and you're going to say, well, Eric says we don't need to learn modes. And that's not at all what I'm saying, okay? Now, here's the deal. You learn to juggle with 2 balls before you learn to juggle with 3 and 4 and 5 and chainsaws, okay? Otherwise, if you just start juggling 5 chainsaws, you're probably going to do it once, and then you're going to retire, okay? So what I'm saying is, I understand that a lot of folks are like, man, I'm playing these pentatonics, they're boring, or the blues, I'm bored of this, or I'm bored of the major scale. Here's the deal. Here's the truth. Here's the God's honest truth. You're going to be offended by this. I'm sorry. My job is not to pat your hiney. My job is to get you to be a better player. And the first thing we got to do is get real, okay? So here's the deal. Pentatonic and blues, if you're bored with those, meaning you can't get anything to sound good, then you don't know them. You just know the form. Just like a child might know a handful of words, but doesn't know how to string them together in phrases. Make sense? So, well, I guess what I'm saying is this. When you play pentatonics and blues, you sound like a beast. You sound so good, but yet you're narrow in what it is that you're playing. Then, yes, it is time to move on to some modes, and it's time to think about things in a different way. Now, why do I say that? I say that because if you can't master the pentatonic scale, the blues scale, if you can't get a good grasp of what notes should sound where, or what notes don't sound good where and when, then it's just a matter of time. You just haven't spent the time to do it. That's all it is. There is no one from RJ to Jimi Hendrix to me to Yngwie Malmsteen, it doesn't matter who it is. No one just was given this information. It's never happened ever. What happened was we would sit down, we'd go, we'd play a lick, and we'd play a lick, and it didn't sound right, and we'd just continue to whittle away. It's like whittling a piece of wood or molding a piece of clay, and eventually you find some notes that work, and more, and then you start expanding your vocabulary. But nobody just gets this stuff. So if you're thinking that that's the way it works, then you'll be the first person in the history of all time-space continuum to do this. And they'll write books about you and movies and stuff. Otherwise, it doesn't happen, okay? You got to practice. So here's the deal. Get good at your pentatonics. Get good at playing the blues scale. And then you can move on to other scales like major and minor, and then the modes, okay? Now, why is that? So let's explain this even further, because I get this question all the time about modes, and I know where it's coming from. It's coming from beginners. It's not coming from folks that have been playing a while. It's always a beginner saying it. And Ryan, I'm not picking on you. I'm just saying in general here, because I don't know where you're at there. But I hear this all the time from folks. And what they're wanting is they're wanting a magic scale that once they play that scale, whoa, there's what I've been looking for. Won't happen. Won't happen ever. It doesn't happen like that. Once you find the key that you're in, yeah, you're going to start hearing some notes match and stuff. But when it comes to modes, really what you're talking about is you're talking about playing outside notes. An outside note is a note that works, but it's questionable. This is a late term version of what I'm doing of jazz theory here, if you will. Okay, yes, what jazz theory and what modes are supposed to do. Let's take it separately. Jazz theory basically will say things like, okay, here's this chord, it's a minor 7 chord, and so not only can you play minor over it, but you could play Dorian, okay, because the Dorian has the flatted 7, so that would work with that particular chord. And you could think about that mode, and then you're going to run through the mode, and it's going to sound like you're running through a mode or a scale. Or what you could do, so even though RJ was saying, yes, I'm using this mode and what have you, he's not thinking, okay, there's the mode, that's what it looks like, and I'm going to run up and down that mode. What he's thinking is he's thinking, okay, that for instance, the Dorian mode is one note different than the minor scale, okay? Also known, the minor scale is also known as the Aeolian mode, okay? So it's a mode in and of itself, but it's only one note difference. So what happens is people go, I'm going to play this scale. And it's like, no, you're playing the same scales you were playing. You just lower that 7, a half step. And so, but if you're looking at the forms, this is where the chord forms come in all the time, where people say, I'm thinking about the forms, right? Brett Papa and I would talk about this all the time. You're thinking about the form, and then you're kind of working those notes in. It's the same thing. You're playing modes, but you're not thinking about the mode. Does that make sense? And I just know from teaching literally thousands of lessons over the years that I know what people mean by when they say, I want to be able to play in the modes. Okay, they don't want to learn all the modes. They think they do, but they don't want to necessarily learn all the modes and then know exactly what chord it should work on. That is years of learning if you're going to do it that way. Okay? All right. So I'm wondering, as long as you know the key at the moment, and typically when you know the key, you're talking about the key of a whole song. It's not usually just a moment. It's the key of the whole song for like 3 minutes, okay? There are different chords within there, but those different chords determine the key, okay? I'm going to continue to go with your question here, but I need to address that. You know what notes to play, and that is where knowing the scale comes into play. Yes, Robert, kind of. So I can tell by your question, again, that there's some missing pieces there. Watch the entire beginner series that I'm giving you guys for free, YourGuitarSage.com/30. Do it, do it, do it, do it. There's going to be some stuff that you're going to know, but I promise you're going to build that foundation. A lot of this stuff is just going to make sense to you anymore, okay? So, again, as long as you know the key at the moment, you know what notes to play, and that is where knowing the scales come into play. So let's talk about key for a moment. A key is, if you will, the thesis of your paper or of your speech. It's the opening statement, okay? When the camera came on here, I said, folks, welcome to the March 6th version of Guitar Show, and this is, we're going to talk about what the Repairman taught me about blues, and we're going to talk about questions, and I got this post, and I went into all that, right? Because now you know you're in the right place or you're not. Hold on, wait. I was waiting for the movie Bridesmaids. What the hell am I watching? This guy's got a guitar and he's, you've got a basic structure getting there. We got another donation. Thank you so much. I got to check it out. Sorry. When we get a donation like that, those folks come first. Oh, BJ, thank you so much. I didn't see that. You also donated. Thank you so much. Keep the donation train going. Indeed. Thank you, bud. DJ, High Tone, thank you, brother. Sorry to interrupt, Eric. I'm the newest member of UGS and wanted to show my appreciation by contributing to the lunch fund for you and the crew. Oh, DJ, thank you so much. Hit me up in the program, my friend, and we will address any specifics that you've got. So thank you. Very kind and very generous of you. I really, truly appreciate it. So, yeah, so going back to the key, you've got a central theme of a movie, okay? You have a central theme of a movie. Let's say, I don't know, The Matrix, right? you know it's going to be about something about a matrix, something complicated, and we know what the idea of the movie is. Well, if all of a sudden in the middle of that movie, Julie Andrews came out and started singing The Sound of Music, we'd be like, the hell's going on, right? Because that's not what we came for. And you could think about the key of a song as being the thing that you're coming for. It's the payoff. When we're talking about how it sounds, if we have a chord progression like this, you know, you have this resolve, and that's the tonal center, okay? This is something that you'll get better at as you go along, but essentially each chord that goes by is not a different tonal center. It's 99.9% of the time just a variable that's pointing back to the tonal center in some way, okay? And once you know the tonal center, then yes, you'll know approximately, you'll know what your tonal center is, and then if it's major or minor, you'll be able to know, well, should I do some sort of major or minor scale over the top of it, major or minor pentatonic, major or minor blues, etc., etc. Cool? That will help a lot. Okay, so Ryan's saying, yeah, nowhere competent to noodling game yet, taking your advice and going to work on blues and pentatonic beast mode first. Yeah, I love that, Ryan. I'm telling you, you'll be so happy that you did that because you're going to be playing that 99% of the time. The stuff that RJ was talking about, you know, when you get to certain levels of playing an instrument or doing anything, you start getting bored, right? And so he's wanting to bring out some different sounds, but it's a little sauce, man. It's just a touch. It's a sprinkle of a mode. He's not just noodling in modes all day, I guarantee you. The stuff he was playing yesterday, he was going outside a little bit. He was doing some jazz stuff, but I mean, here's and there's, and even staying in the scale but playing it certain ways will make it sound like it's something new as well, okay? Isn't there just one scale and each mode is different because the tonic is moved and set by the key? Gary, I know what you're trying to say there, but the devil's in the details, so I can't say yes or no to what it is that you're saying because I don't know for sure if you know what it is that you're talking about there. But essentially, the modes, you know, are derived from the major scale. So if you have a G major scale, that's also known as the G Ionian mode. Whoa, slow down, Eric, you're freaking me out. It's just a label. That's all it is. G major or G Ionian. That's it. It's just a label, a sticker. If you played it 1-to-1, if you played it 2-to-2, now we're talking about A Dorian. But with that being said, if we wanted to play G Dorian, we'd have to move it down. So here would be G major or G Ionian. And then G Dorian would be. You know, so again, I know half of you just checked out from that. So I like to stay away from that because it's just, you're not going to use it. Not for a long time, okay? Do new amps, speakers, need a break-in period to reach their optimal tone? Larry, I've heard of such a thing. I've heard of people talking about that. Yeah, tubes, oftentimes, and speakers, they typically do need some sort, or I should say they open up more after they've been played a bit. Yes, there is some truth to that. Whether you're going to hear that or not, it's another story. But usually a speaker needs a little bit of exercise, and the tubes as well, new tubes. That's my understanding, but I can't say that from experience. I've been like, oh my God, that amp just sounds so damn new. I can't even believe it. Never run into that. But at the same time, I do feel like my amps over time, either I'm tweaking them better or they're sounding better, you know, or my ears are easier to please. I don't know. Okay, now I'm over on YouTube. We're getting to some questions. And while we're doing this little transition here, so for the folks that are on Facebook that are wanting to go over to YouTube now and get your questions answered, you can do that right now. But here's the deal. We have several things. Number one, YourGuitarSage.com/30. Friends, you're going to hear me talk about it a lot. There's a reason. It's because I painstakingly created this course for you guys. and it's free. And I would love for you to take advantage of it. There's no catch. It's absolutely free, not even $1. So go in there, check it out. You'll have a better understanding of how I teach. Plus, you're going to build a fantastic foundation. If you're in UGS, if you've started with the free program, please give a shout out on Facebook and YouTube. Let folks know that it's not playing around. It's the real deal, and you learn a ton of stuff in there, okay? For those folks who are wanting to go to the next level and you're like, Eric, I'm committed already, then check out YourGuitarSage.com/1, and you can trial the whole enchilada for $1, literally. Over 1,000 videos, over 600 jam tracks, live broadcasts from me, constantly updating the system. In fact, I just uploaded like 40-something, almost 40 new videos about the blues. So pretty cool, right? Lots of good stuff in there. Plus, you got all my free stuff on YouTube, 1,000-something videos there. But the real nitty-gritty stuff is inside UGS, okay? Also, we have a, what do we have? A post. There it is. Right there. That's the post that you're going to go to on Instagram. Why are you going to do this? Well, because I'm going to give away a lifetime membership to the Unstoppable Guitar System /365. It's over a $500 value, a lifetime of lessons from me. The only thing you need to do is get picked from this contest. And it's super easy. You literally go to this post right here. 3 things you do. Make sure you're following me on Instagram. Like the post, right? You hit the little heart button. And leave a comment. And then what we're going to do is we're going to pick one of those folks that have done that accurately, and they're going to win a lifetime membership to UGS. Eric, I don't win anything. Well, I can tell you we've given away. If I were to add it all up now, we've given well over $1 million worth of UGS away. Some of it's been to charity, but probably half of that has been to contest winners and all sorts, okay? So we're serious about giving stuff away. We do it all the time, okay? I don't just say it. We do it all the time. Oh, man, someone just donated again? Dear heaven. It's like you guys are on fire. BJ, thank you, brother. Another $2 to recommend the free system. Thank you so much, BJ. That's right. BJ and I have talked quite a bit inside the program there. So, BJ, thank you so much, brother. River Boy, it's going well, my friend. Yeah, I hear it's chilly, Spring Hill, Florida. Yeah, I know. I hear it's chilly in Florida. I talked to my mom this morning. She's in Central Florida, in Cocoa. And she said it was like 40 degrees, which is not very often. Why is blues so different from other genres? You know, blues is different from other genres in that oftentimes it's using a lot of the same chordal structures, and the rules are fairly specific when it comes to blues. So when you have something like that, when you have a specific sound where there are some very definite rules, then it's going to sound, it's going to separate itself from everything else, as opposed to if you said pop music today. Pop music today is all over the place. There's just, you can't even define it. It's all over the place. So whereas blues, if you're going to, when folks are wanting to hear like authentic blues, there's some rules that one needs to follow. That's why it sounds so specific, and why it's so different. All right. Oh, yeah, okay, it's raining in Cali. What was the name of the song you were asking RJ Ronquillo? That song had polyrhythm. You had mentioned it in yesterday's live stream. Well, no, I was saying it didn't have a polyrhythm. It was Christina. It was a song that RJ did with his band. And no, they weren't doing any polyrhythm, but he was accenting the beat in a certain way. And then the drums came in and what have you. And it was just a really cool vibe. But no, there was no polyrhythm, but it was Christina. Listen to Christina and you'll hear what I'm talking about. What do you think of the new Fender Duo Sonic for blues? I have not tried it, my friend. I need to. I'm interested in becoming a guitar tech. Do you have a recommendation for the best way to acquire the knowledge and skills necessary? Ben, I would check on Udemy, Udemy, check on udemy.com, or start doing some searching on YouTube. One of my students that are inside UGS did this same path. They wanted to learn to play guitar, so they're in the UGS system. But then also, he was getting his certifications for being a guitar luthier. So that's what I would do. Start doing some Google search and let your fingers do the walking. You'll find all the information that you need. What profession would you suggest a graduated guitarist to go for? Well, that's up to you. What do you like? That's the answer to your question. What do you like? Don't go on my recommendation. You know, you may hate playing out live, and if you do, I wouldn't suggest that. So do what it is that you love, okay? All right, gonna buy a guitar, electric for sure. Quality matter, money doesn't. Can you suggest some? Oh, yes, I tell you what, there's a few different things that you can do. Number one, if you go to my store, kit.com/YourGuitarSage, I'll have some suggestions there for you. Kit.com/YourGuitarSage. Subskip, thank you so much for putting that here. I so appreciate that. That is in the chat there on YouTube. But it really just depends on what you're looking for. So I would say find out what your favorite bands are, find out what guitars they're playing and the sounds that they're getting from those. Go play that at a local store. Don't just buy online unless you just live in a part of the world that you can't do this. And I understand for some of you that's true. But if that's not you, go play the guitar. You know, you're going to get all misty-eyed or you know, you're going to get all like obsessed online, and then you're going to get something and it may not be what you're looking for, okay? Yeah, exactly. Hastings says, "What sound are you looking for?" Yeah. Okay, what about the modes in major or minor blues? Yeah, what about them, Jeff? You're going to have to let me know a little bit more specifically about what you mean by what about them. Okay, what players would you recommend studying to get better at major blues? That's a fantastic question. BJ, I would say B.B. King is probably one of the more renowned blues players that really used major blues a lot. So B.B. King, Stevie Ray Vaughan used it quite a bit. Country players use it all the time. So when you're hearing all those ripping solos and they sound happy, it's in a major key, they're using the major blues a ton. Okay, so anything country that's in a major key. All right, good. If a question doesn't make sense to me, I'm skipping it. Can silence be told there's music? I don't know what that means. Sorry. What are some basic blues phrases that I can practice that sound good? Scott, we won't go into all those right now because there's a million basics. You know what I mean? What you need to do is get familiar with the blues scale, get familiar with call and response, with minimalistic blues. I tell you, Scott, watch my video. If you're not inside UGS, watch on YouTube, search minimalistic blues or search YourGuitarSage minimalistic blues. That's what you want to look for, because there I'm going to show you how to use small phrases to sound really good at the blues. Okay, and that's really, once you can get a handle of that, everything else you'll stack up on top of that, you know. What are the guitars in the back? So this, let's start here. This is an R8. This is a Les Paul R8 that I purchased with Greg Ellis, my guitar tech, or I say I purchased with him. He was with me, and he saw that on the rack, and I saw it too. Both of our eyes were like, "Whoa, that's beautiful!" And I brought that home from. Love it. We got another donation. I'm going to check this out. Gary, thank you so much. Oh, you're so welcome, Gary. I do support the vets, and we owe much gratitude. So thank you so much, my friend. So this is a Les Paul R8. So basically, it's a 1958 reissue. If it were the real one, it'd be $300,000, and I don't have that quite yet. So this is a 1959. That's a real deal. That's a 1959 6120. And this is a 1967 Telly with a quite worn out neck, and this is a 65 Strat. So, and then I got some others on the wall here, but those are kind of the ones that I love the most right now. Okay, good. What should you look out for when looking for a guitar guy? Celeste, okay, I'm assuming what you mean is a guitar luthier or someone to look after your guitars and help you with all that. So you want to look for someone who is a professional, so someone who is doing it and making money, because that's typically a sign of someone who has some sort of history, and anybody can sweet talk you into saying that they know something about a guitar. Heck, I could do that. And then if I got your guitar and I set it up, you'd realize that I don't know anything about setting up a guitar. I truly don't. I don't know much about it at all. I know basics, and I've watched it, being done, and I used to do it some myself. But you want to find someone who's getting paid for what it is that they're doing, because in doing so, you're going to find someone who knows what they're talking about. And then ask around. Ask other guitar players. Like, for instance, in town here, downtown, everybody would say Joe Glazier. Or they'd say Greg, my cranky guitar tech on 16th Avenue. Dear Lord, you guys have gone crazy with the donations today. What is going on? Oh, thank you so much, Climber. Yes, and I appreciate the vets as well. Thank you so much. You guys are going nuts with the donations. I so appreciate that. So yeah, ask around town. But Joe Glazier here in Nashville, there's always names that pop up all the time, right? So go with those. I have an Epiphone 60s Tribute Les Paul. A friend suggested I sell it and get a Gibson of similar price. I feel like my guitar has better components than a Gibson of similar price, LPJ or so. Opinion? Pedro, probably so. People say a lot of things. They say, hey, you should get a Repairman. You should go get a blankety blank, and you all of a sudden you'll play magic. Don't listen to that guy. That guy's always saying what you should do. Your guitar's probably totally fine. I tell the story all the time. I was at an auction and I bought 2 Gibson Les Pauls and 2 Epiphone Les Pauls. And I very quickly sold the 2 Gibson Les Pauls and kept the 2 Epiphones because they played and sounded so much better. You get lemons sometimes. Now this Les Paul, it plays like a race car and it sounds great and everything else. So it just depends on what you're getting. That's why I say it doesn't matter what the name of the guitar is. Doesn't matter how much it costs. Okay? I have $100 guitars that play excellently. And then I've played $300,000 guitars. They played okay. They played pretty good. But not $300,000. Like if they never told me the price of it, I would have never known. Except that it was a 59 and a 58 Les Paul. Okay? So this is why if you watch videos 1 and 2 after you get into the program, right after the introduction and all that, dear Lord, you guys are going crazy now. Thank you so much, American Irishman. Very kind of you, my friend. Lots of donations happening on YouTube right now. Yeah. So I think that's enough about that one, right? So don't worry about it. I'm sure your guitar is fine. Oh, but I was saying the first 2 videos inside the program, I talk about how to pick a guitar, whether you know something about guitars or you know nothing about guitars. And that's the God's honest truth. There's really only a couple things that really matter is what is the sound and what's the feel. But before that, what can you afford? So if you can only afford $200, then there's no reason for you to look at $2,000 guitars. You're not going to buy them, right? Otherwise, play them and you'll go, oh, that really doesn't play much different, or wow, that plays different, and that's what a $2,000 guitar plays like. It just gives you more experience. But if you're being serious, only play the guitars that are under 200 or up to 200, and then play them all and go with the one that sounds and plays the best. Sometimes you will find one that sounds better and another one that plays better. It happens sometimes. Sorry, right? Sometimes you meet someone who's really, really hot and doesn't have so good of a personality. And sometimes you meet someone who has a great personality and ain't so hot. Happens with guitars too. It's just true. So keep looking, don't settle. All right. I never use a pick. Will I get that rock sound without it? Show us. I can't show you because no, I don't believe you will get that sound. I've only seen a couple guys not use a pick. Like for instance, if I'm doing, tremolo picking, right, where you're playing like this sort of thing, right? You're not going to be able to do that with your fingers unless you're a flamenco player, and then to some degree you might be able to, but you'd have to be a really great flamenco player to play that fast, and it's a whole different enchilada. So no, there's a reason that people use picks. But Eric, a pick feels awkward to me. Well, welcome to the neighborhood, my friend. It felt weird for everybody. There's nobody who picked up a pick the first time and said, "This feels great. I'd rather use this than my fingers." Just like a kid doesn't pick up carrots with a fork the first time, he uses his hands. Why? Because he's had them for a while. He hasn't had the fork for very long. Doesn't know how to use the fork. Okay, so yes, the pick's awkward at first. You got to get used to it. Vic, carry the pick around with you everywhere. Literally carry it in your hands. When you're at the office and you're writing, have it in your hands. Bring the pick with you everywhere. You're walking around the supermarket, pick's in your hand. Driving, pick's in your hand, right? You got the pick in your hand all the time. Why? Because what it will do is it'll get you attenuated to how that pick should feel without falling out of your hands, okay? Do that. You don't even have to play. I mean, later you have to play, but get used to that pick being in your hand. I don't like metal genre much. Just it's fast and low pitch rapping of vocalists. Which genre would you prefer to go for? Consider that I am kind of like in the final stages of immediate playing. Please, don't ask somebody what you should be doing or what you should be liking. That's like asking me what girl you should date or what guy you should date. I don't know. What do you like? Okay? So you really need to answer that question yourself, because I'm going to tell you what I like, and that's not going to help you very much. From your courses, I have learned so much. I may not be able to do it yet, but I understand it. So the skill will come from the practice and study. Yes, indeed. It's always from practice and study. There is no other way to learn. There's no other way to learn until they start downloading software into your brain. Then everybody's going to be doing it, okay? And then you're going to be just like everybody else, so hard work is going to be where it's at again, okay? Sir, I am not satisfied with 4 years of practice. What should I do? You should quit. No, bro, never. I'm telling you, war boy, quit. Quit guitar. If you're not willing to put in the time, you might as well be playing video games, sitting on the sofa, watching soap operas, or doing other things that are absolutely going to do nothing for your brain. You might as well. And I'm not being ugly. I'm just saying if you're not committed, you're not committed. There's no judgment. Just own you're not being committed, I've been playing for 30-something years, 35 years or something. 4 years goes by like that. So, War Boy, I know you're young, because 4 years always seems so big when you're young. 4 years when you get older ain't nothing, okay? My kid's 3 years old. He's getting ready to be 4 in a few months here. That happened like that. So just keep your head down, practice. That's what I'd say to do. Can we go to a eighth tone, like we can go half pitch distance or quarter tone and a quarter note? Let's play guitar. Yeah, I mean, you can bend notes, like slight bends and stuff like that, In blues, it's done all the time. It's just like a slight bend. Yeah, you can do that. Blues loves that. Any suggestion for songwriting? Yeah, do it. Seriously, like if you want to get good at it, that's what you do. You do it. You practice. You write. The only way to get good at something is to try it. Obviously, watch some videos on it. I have a songwriting book that's going to be coming out soon. It's been done for a long time, but we just have so many things going on with the guitars and the pedals and the live episodes and the guests and everything else. There's a lot. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but my high E string keeps muting on the top 2 frets. Is this a common thing? No, it's not common. If your hands are not on the guitar and it's doing that, then you have a setup issue and you need to bring it to a guitar luthier. Otherwise, if you are playing guitar at the same time, it might be something that you're doing. Okay, great. Prog rock regularly changes the keys they are in mid-song, correct? Yeah, yep, I would say that's correct, BJ. There's a lot of that sort of thing. Yep. Why are teachers so against a structured learning system? They are so hung up on creativity and songwriting. I feel I would need a solid foundation before creating. Why can I not get an answer? Half cocked. Well, I don't think there's. This is coming from a guy who has a really structured learning system. So half cocked. If you're not in at least the free program, the first 30 lessons, look, if anybody's out there and they're like wanting to learn, and you're like, yeah, but I need a quicker way or whatever. If you can't commit to 30 free lessons that would normally cost you well over $1,000 if you visited me and did those same lessons with me, then you shouldn't be playing guitar. I mean, I'm not joking. I'm not discouraging you. I'm not saying you can't. I'm saying is you're not committing. You know what I mean? So half cocked, definitely join the free program, YourGuitarSage.com/30. But my whole system is all structured. It's step by step. Woo! What? $24.99. Who donated that? Dan Ryer. Thanks from the Vietnam vets, Robert. Oh, buddy, thank you so much. I so appreciate that, Robert. And man, I've said it before that, and I don't know why, probably because I was born in that era, but I've always had this like heart thing for Vietnam vets. I mean, for all vets. My dad, in fact, I just saw a picture of this. So my dad grew up in Berlin in World War II. They sent his dad to war, and I just saw a picture literally of my dad, just a little baby on top of the shoulders of his dad. And my mom said, and I'd never seen this picture before, and she said, your grandfather was killed just shortly after that picture was taken. He's standing there with his little boy on his shoulders, it just wells me up, and all his soldiers buddies behind him, and like literally, my dad had no idea, and that his dad was going to be gone. So like, I have such a heart for vets, and that's, that was the other side. Well, this guy didn't want to go to war either. Little boy didn't want his dad to get killed in battle either. But Hitler, being the guy, the a-hole who he was, that's what happened. You know what I mean? And but I've always had. So I have a heart for vets. I have a heart for anybody who's put their lives on the line like that, especially for us, and especially for people who sometimes can be ingrates, ungrateful, that sort of thing. Just because it even shows even more of a hero that they are, to be able to stand in the face of death like that. So my heart goes out to vets, and we support you, and thank you so much, and especially Vietnam vets is just for me. Whatever, it's just for me. It's just like a thing that my heart has always been very connected to that. As a crazy ass war, we should have never been there, and I'm pretty sure everybody agrees with that at this point. They didn't in the beginning, but anyhow, I got off on a tangent there. But thank you so much, Robert. So kind of you. Okay. Oh, I kind of lost my. So half cocked. Yeah. So a structured learning system is great. Why are people so hung up on creativity and songwriting? So there's two sides to this coin. A lot of times people come to guitar not knowing anything, and they learn some riffs, and then they learn some patterns. And these are the guys that say, "I don't know any music theory. I don't know any music theory. I just play." You know music theory. You know patterns and what have you. You do. Trust me, you do. You just don't know the labels that go on it. Okay, but if I know how to take a block out of a car, and I can assemble the engine in all the different ways, and clean the carburetor and do all that, and assemble it and put it back in, and someone says, "Man, did you build that engine yourself?" And I'm like, "Engine? What's an engine?" And they say, "That thing right there." "Oh, I don't know anything about engines, but yeah, I can do that." Well, of course he knows something about engines. He just doesn't know the names. Okay, so like you pretty much can't play music and not know the rules, okay? And I'll argue it till the day is done. You got to know stuff, right, in some way. But what happens is, half-cocked, is that some people come in to music just playing. And they're not thinking. They're real creative types, and they're not thinking so much analytical, and they don't want to think that way. So they just think, creative, and they just do this stuff. But the problem is sometimes they can't duplicate it, or they can't speak that language to somebody else. So it is what it is. You know what I mean? But with that being said, yes, I'm a big fan of learning both at the same time. Like, here's what this does. Here's why it does this, but here's the sound. And you go, ooh, I love that. So it hits that part of you where you're like, you love that sound, but then here's how to do it. And then you're like, well, cool, that covers both the left and right brain, right? That's how I think. Why, it's the yin and the yang. Why would you take the one out with the other? Can't do it. You got to be there. Okay. $20 amplifier here. Why does it sound suck? I think you answered your question. Let's play guitar. Let's play guitar. You were going to buy a guitar and money was zero value, right? You said money was absolutely no variable. Then what I would do is I'd get more than a $20 amp. I'd go and, if money is no variable to you, go get a Kemper, or go get something that you get all these different sounds, okay? And stop playing through a $20 amp, because it's going to just drive you nuts, okay? The way modes were explained to me as a kid is that people took the major scale and just played from different positions in the scale. Is this helpful for explaining this? It seemed to help me. BJ, it's like looking at one, if you're looking at a full picture, it's like looking at one little pixel in it. So it's helpful to know that the scales are derived from that, but it doesn't really help people to play in the modes and for it to sound good. So yeah, you've hit a part of it there, and I appreciate that. Oh, David, thank you so much. The course has all the structure you could want, in my opinion. Thank you. Yeah. Athletic Dasshole. People are teaching guitar for free on YouTube. What the WTF? He says. And yes, and that's true. I had a video, Dasshole. I had a video actually that said you don't need a guitar teacher. But here's the deal. You also don't need to eat right. You don't need parents. You don't need a job. You don't need a car. You don't need clothes. You need to breathe. You don't need food for a long time. You can go a long time without food. So there's lots of things we don't need, but there are things that are really helpful. And yes, I have 1,000-something lessons on YouTube. But why would I do that and have the Unstoppable Guitar System? Because there are folks that don't want to bebop around and maybe get one video that's going to help them when they have a whole series of videos inside the Unstoppable Guitar System that goes step by step. Also, Athletic Dasshole, I'd have to see what kind of player you are to see if you're putting your money where your mouth is. Are you some amazing player who's just learned on YouTube? If so, then you send us some links or something so we could see, because, and it's not to say it can't be done. I guess what I'm saying is, how much are you learning doing that? Some folks, they get distracted. Hell, I get distracted, and I feel like I'm fairly focused when it comes to what I'm trying to do. I get on YouTube, and now this video pops up, and this video pops up, and save for later, and where did I come here for? That's what happens to me, Yes, thank you, David. Yep, it's only $1 indeed. All right, good stuff. Can you talk a little bit about alternate tuning? Why do guys and girls do it? I heard some players tune down so their singers sound higher. Is there any truth to that? Rob 5150. Rob, yes. In fact, Eddie Van Halen did that with your name. You're probably an Eddie fan. So Eddie tuned down all the time. In fact, it's not in here, but it's in the other studio. But my EVH guitars tuned down a half step. And yes, that happened a lot, but that's not what really we call alternate tuning. I mean, yeah, we're tuning it down, and essentially it is, but it's still, you're going to play the guitar the same way. So like alternate tunings would be like, for instance, a slide, which would like an open E or open G. And when you're doing that, it allows you to use the slide all the way across all the notes at once, all the strings at once, as opposed to if you just played a chord like this, it doesn't sound the best, but if it sounded like this, that sounds much better, right? So literally imagine holding your slide right there, and instead of hearing this sound, you hear this sound. Well, that would help, wouldn't it? So there are different reasons to do such. You know, you can come up with different parts and what have you. But again, for me, I say learn the guitar, just standard, okay? And then when you get so good at learning the guitar in standard pitch, then branch out to all these different alternate tunings. Otherwise, one is looking for something that's right there before their eyes, and they keep going, going past it, What's your take on Joe Bonamassa? Who? I'm joking. Joe's amazing. Joe's an amazing player. He's a beast. I would, if I could have half his chops, I would be ecstatic, Okay, good. What is UGS? I'm a Vietnam vet. Vic, it's the Unstoppable Guitar System. Go to YourGuitarSage.com/30 or YourGuitarSage.com/1 to check that out, and then hit us up. Hit us up in support, letting us know that you're a Vietnam vet. Okay. Okay. Anyway, you can do a Hawaiian style lesson in the future. Anyway, you can do, that's a question? I'm not sure. Okay, my uncle has a new, never tuned Fender Scorpion Showmaster. Looks like a Strat body with two humbuckers. Do you have any put on this guitar in general? No, I do not, Ben. But you probably find a ton of stuff on the interwebs. Okay. What kind of practice should I do to learn a scale inside, out, and upside down? Celeste. So, Celeste, I believe you're in the Unstoppable Guitar System, aren't you? I think I've seen you in there. But nonetheless, I've got exercises, scale exercises for doing things like this. So if I'm learning, let's say, C major, I might learn it in one form and then learn it in another form. Maybe I'll learn 2 octaves. Maybe I'll learn it skipping notes like that, or I'll go sequences of 4, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5. That sort of thing, and then going backwards doing all that. Then you could even do like 3 notes per string. There's so many different ways that you can do it. So, get a piece of paper out and write, okay, well, I know it this way, and I know it this way, and I know it this way. And then just try different things. And I call those sequences, those different bits and pieces. So what you could do is you could literally on a piece of paper write out like 1, 3, 2, 4, 3, 5, 4, 6, and then try to practice that. And you'll get frustrated because you'll be like, daggone it, that's difficult. That's bending my mind. Well, now you're really learning the scale because you're pushing up against your comfort zone, okay? I've been playing for a year now, and I think the one thing I struggle with when playing by myself is keeping timing. Any suggestions? Alan, yes, more practice and working with a metronome or working with some jam tracks or something that's in time already, While playing fast, which hands do you get the most problem with, rhythm or lead? So, rhythm or lead is a style of guitar. Rhythm is playing chords. Lead's like playing single notes. So, but if you're talking about playing fast, which hand do you have the most problem with? It's both, because it's not a matter of being fast. I can pick and fret as fast as the fastest guitar player in the world. So can you. It's not a matter that you can't pick or fret fast, but can you do it accurately? And can you think far enough down the line? And that's really what we're talking about. We're talking about synchronizing both the left and the right hand. That's really where it comes down to it mattering. If there's one weak link in the chain, then the whole thing's going to sound bad. Okay, so you just need to work on both. Okay. Medicine Man, is 500 the most you can send? Are you talking about on Super Chat? I don't know. Let's see. Let's see what we can do. All right. Yeah, I don't know the answer to that, my friend. Be cool to know. Be fun. Okay. Someone told me a way to remember the dim seventh chords was just a lower, not half step. Example, F sharp in the key of G would become F. Does that make sense, Franz? No, that does not make sense. I'm sorry, I don't know what that means. Someone told me a good way to remember the dim seventh chord was just to lower, not, and really you'd have to phrase that differently, Franz, because I think some of the words there are kind of juxtaposed. Okay. Do you think Stevie Ray Vaughan learned some blues licks from Jimi Hendrix? He indeed did. Yes, you can hear all sorts of players in Stevie Ray's playing. Nashville Taylor, are you coming to the Groon meetup? I want to meet you, my friend, because we've talked enough on here, and I know you're here in town, right? Okay, good. I broke 2 strings on my Floyd Rose electric guitar. I don't know how to restring it. You have a video that shows you how? Medicine Man, I do not with a Floyd Rose, but there's plenty on YouTube of folks that are doing it, yes. Ryan, that's all right. People ask about modes all the time, so it's not you. People really, truly want to know about it because I really feel like it's a buzzword, and people think that there's going to be something special in there, Triangular plastic pick or metal finger picks. It depends on what you like. Yeah. All right, someone's asking what kind of girl they should date. Greg is, what do you know what girl I should date? I bet you I could find one if you tell me what you like. Okay. Seriously, this is a question that a lot of people don't ask themselves anymore. What is it that I like? We get so... I challenge you to ask yourself this more. Some of you don't have any problem with this, and that's fine too. But a lot of people, especially as we get older, we stop asking what it is that we like anymore. And I think because of that, sometimes we become unhappy. And it's a good thing to ask, What do you like? What kind of music do you like? What kind of food? And then let that answer guide you where you want to go. Tips for playing the change in jazz. I'm not sure what you mean by that, Ben. Tips for playing the changes. Oh, tips for playing the changes in jazz. Yes, play the changes in jazz. That's my tip for you. Play the changes in jazz. Do it. Like there's no mystery here. You practice what it is that you suck at, and you're going to get better. I'd be lying to you if I told you anything differently. So I know sometimes I'll answer you guys and you think I'm being a smart ass, but I'm not. I'm trying to give you the most definite answer. There's no trick, okay? It's hard work is what it is. Eric, can you demonstrate vibrato? You move at the wrist, right? I do. Let's do this. Let's see if I can... Let's grab this shot here. So here I'm playing the 7th fret of the 3rd string. And I've got my 3rd finger on that, okay? I've got my thumb in the back of the neck like that, right? And when I'm... Now the pressure, of course, is on that fret right there. And I'm kind of doing this rocking back and forth like this. Like you're twisting a doorknob. and you're going to have the resistance from the guitar there, and that's good because that's going to bring you back to where it is that you need to go, you know? Okay. Any thoughts on how to slow down and play the licks you can play at home when out rehearsing with the band, apart from slow? Any thoughts on how to slow down and play the licks you can play at home when rehearsing with a band, apart from slow down? Not sure what you mean by that, my friend, but I use a product called DJ Pro. Is it called DJ Pro? Here, I'll tell you. I have it open right now. DJ Pro 2. It allows me to slow tunes down even on Spotify. It's amazing, and it's for iOS devices. I think they also have it for Apple. I don't know if they have it for PC or not, but I love that program. Okay, good. Indeed, indeed. Love our vets. Guitar Center told me they can restring my 2 broken strings on my Floyd Rose electric guitar for $29 a year. Are you saying that they can restring your guitar for $29 a year anytime you want to? If so, I'd take them up on that because that's pretty cool. They mean they can change those 2 strings out for $29. You can do that. Okay. As far as strings, someone's asking about strings. Douglas, D'Addario are fine, but honestly, strings are strings. I haven't found much difference in them in 30-something years of playing. So it is what it is. Maybe there is something different about it, but I'm just not. I haven't come across it. Jonathan, thank you so much, my friend. Hello, I'm from Brazil. Nice advice. I'm learning a lot. Good job. Oh, Jonathan, thank you. That is really super kind. And the chat bumped to the bottom here, so I'm just going to go back up a little bit from here. What happened to the casting couch? I took it out because, well, you could see, like yesterday, I had RJ here, and we fit in here just nicely. But when I had Brett Papa here the other day, we were just kind of, we were kind of squashed up on the couch a little bit. So I decided to do away with it. Plus, it's not the most comfortable thing in the world, believe it or not. Karen is saying, Eric, I know you're a big fan of Tony Robbins. Do you also follow his health dude, Dr. Gundry? I do, and I've read Dr. Gundry's book, The Plant Paradox, and I don't adhere to it 100%. I think that the information in there sounds very sound, and it sounds like he's done a lot of research and what have you, and I think it's amazing stuff. But I don't follow it 100% just because I have many restrictions. I do lots of things constantly, and if I followed everything that he's saying along with my other restrictions that I do, there would be not much that I would eat, and life wouldn't be very fun. So I try to have a balance of that. But I do love Dr. Gundry, and I think he has some amazing things to say. And I've definitely seen some positive bits come from his suggestions, his food suggestions. I decided I should use one, but having a hard time making myself do it. How can I make it fun? Okay, I'm not sure what you're talking about, but if you're talking about using a pick, get some songs that you like and start there. How can I figure out beats per minute on a song? Blues songs. Okay, a great way to do this, Medicine Man, is you can download like free metronome apps for your phone, and a lot of them will have a tap feature. So what you do is you turn it on, it says tap, and you're listening to the song, and it's ba 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 da ba 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 ba, and you tap it, da 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 da, and what it does is it takes an average of what you're tapping there, and then it says, hey, this is the actual tempo. Pretty cool, right? Yeah. A great app is Justin Sanderco's Time Trainer. I have it. I was actually going to design one almost identical to it, and then he beat me to the punch. And congratulations, Justin, because that's an awesome app, and it's got a lot of really great features to it. But it does have a tap tempo bit in there, okay? All right, yeah. Also, friends, please be real specific in your questions. Any suggestion blues songs for acoustic? It's pretty broad, right? Because there's a million of them. But I would, Faith, I would say "Life by the Drop" is a fantastic blues tune by Stevie Ray. Well, he redid it. Something like that. That's a really fun one, and you'll get a lot of mileage out of that one. But there's tons of great tunes. They don't have to be acoustic, right? You just turn them into acoustic tunes. Anything in the key of E, in the key of A, those are good keys for acoustic blues. I have an aversion to using a metronome. How important is it? It's not important at all. Unless you want to play in time, then it becomes really, really important. And since time has to do with space-time continuum, it has to do with music, right? We have got melody, we've got harmony, we've got time, and a variable of other things as well. It's important, to play in time. If you're playing in a band, your band members will think it's very important, especially if you're not playing in time, okay? Probably a dumb question, but why are there 5 pentatonic scale shapes? Beverly. There could be more, but essentially what we're doing is we're just starting at the 5 different notes, you know what I mean? So that's why in the diatonic scale, there's 7 notes and there's 7 shapes, basically. It's because we're starting a different shape on each one of those 5 notes. So it's not a dumb question, but yeah, kind of answered it itself. Okay, Thomas is saying, I'm in week 14 in the 365 course. Friends, what Thomas is talking about, he's talking about the 365 guitar plan, which if you're in the Unstoppable Guitar System, you get that whole, I believe it's $80 program. You get that for free. We throw that in there. We bundle it in there. Otherwise, it's like $80 or something by itself. But essentially what it is it's 7 different days over 52 weeks, each 7 different areas of expertise like finger picking, economy picking, theory, that sort of thing. Starts with week 1, and then you graduate 52 times over 52 weeks, and by the end of the year, you're raging. Okay, and it's all about practice. It's all about getting you out of your comfort zone and into a new exercise, moving into a new exercise every day. So he's in week 14 of 365 in the course. It is the best, by the way. Thank you so much, Thomas. Just got a new Epiphone SG Pro. So should I continue the course with my usual guitar or with the SG Pro? Thomas, doesn't matter. Do what it is that you want to do. What instrument do you want to get better at, maybe, is a better question, and stick with that guitar. But you can do either. It doesn't matter. Okay. All right, good. All right, and I'm gonna bump back over to YouTube here in just a minute. Okay. All right, bumping over to Facebook here really quickly. And while we're doing this, and we're only going to go another 5 minutes or so, right? Because this time has flown today. But as I'm bumping over to Facebook here, let me remind you guys a few things. Okay, I've got links for you guys. I'm very happy that you're here. Truly, I am. And I love the questions. You guys have great questions. And when you guys ask questions, you're not only helping yourself, but you're helping other people, because there's other people out there that have the same question, okay? So you're doing a good thing for the whole community when you ask a question, because you're helping other people, okay? But that's great, and I'm here for you. That's why I do this twice a week, right? 11 a.m. Central Standard Time on Tuesdays, and almost every Tuesday and Wednesday, right? But what's more important, and I don't care if you're doing it with me, I don't care if you're doing it with Brett Papa or RJ or Justin or Marty, I don't care who you're doing it with, You've got to be learning something on guitar. It's got to be step by step. You've got to be pushing yourself. Otherwise, you're just going to stay in mediocre land your whole life. This is why so many players who have been playing for 30, 40 years, they say, well, I played and I got good after about a year and I've stayed the same since then. Does that sound like you? I know. That's like everybody who's been playing for a long time if you're not pushing yourself, okay? And that you've got to get in something that's step by step. And I have so many ways to do it. 1,000-something lessons on YouTube. I've got the free course, and more than anything else, start at that free course. Even though you have 1,000-something lessons on YouTube from me and all the other teachers, I'm telling you, there's something about starting a course step by step and just doing that and making sure that you have all the bases covered. If not, your foundation is going to be very weak, and anything you stack on top of it's going to fall off because you don't have the foundation. You just don't have the sticking power, okay? So definitely make sure that you do that. It's in the description of this video, and there it is right there, YourGuitarSage.com/30. For those that want more, YourGuitarSage.com/1, okay? And then also, don't forget this. On Instagram, we've got a post, okay? This one right here. It looks like that, exactly like that, because it's a picture of that. And you're going to do 3 things to enter this contest to win a lifetime membership to the Unstoppable Guitar System /365. Here are the 3 things. You ready? You're going to go to that post. You're going to like it. You're going to comment on it, and you're going to make sure that you're following Your Guitar Sage. If you do that, then, again, we're going to pick another winner, and it's going to include lifetime membership of lessons from me for UGS /365. Okay, we do this like every week. So we did one for yesterday, so please check that out, okay? Okay, not a lot of questions on Facebook there. So I'm headed back to YouTube, and we're going to just take a few more questions, okay? Okay. How do I fix a Stratocaster unwanted spring vibration on a floating setup? Not spring noise, it's the vibrato. So if you're talking about the bar, right, there's a few things that you can do, Chocolate Randy. There are springs that you can purchase, like from local shop or whatever, or eBay, and you could drop a spring down there, but it needs to be a specific spring. Don't just throw any spring down there. You're going to strip your tremolo, and then you're screwed. So don't do that. Get one that's specifically for yours. Do the research. Or you can take some plumbing tape, you know, just it's called like, crap, what's the name of that stuff? It's white, but it's basically like a tape that you put around this, okay? And I think it's called silicone tape, but nonetheless, you wrap that around the winds, and then twist the arm into the guitar, and you're not going to have that sound anymore. Pretty cool little bit, you know? Right. Someone's saying a piece of spongy foam. Have we worked out the logistics for shipping the merch to Canada? Andre, I don't know, Andre. Mike, I tell you what to do is email support@YourGuitarSage.com for the answer to that. I wish that I had the answer to that, but we've got so many different things that we're doing here these days that, like, that's Mike's department. He handles that for me, so I can't say for sure, you know. I think they were saying that they were trying to get that taken care of, but I don't know for sure. All right, good. We're going two more minutes. Mark's saying, should I always use a metronome? Mark, it's a tool. It's a tool to keep you in the bounds, right? Inside the boundaries. So no, you don't always need to use a metronome, but it's good to work with one. The more you work with one, the better your timing is going to be, for sure. You know? Thrash metal. I'm laughing at your comment there about Floyd Rose. That's hilarious. Why do guitarists wear black all the time? All right. All right, good, good, good. Yeah, ditto pedal's a great one. Indeed, for a looper. Yeah. And someone's using iReal Pro. That's another great program. iReal Pro. Okay. Teflon tape, that's the name of it. Thank you, everybody. Not silicone tape. Teflon tape. Thank you. All the men out there, all the real men out there. Ugh. Oh, Karen, thank you, Karen. Karen knows what she's doing. She's handy in the kitchen there, the plumbing. Not me. I suck. I suck at that stuff. Terrible. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Greg. All. Yeah, PTFE tape. It's also known as that. Okay. Good. All right. Okay, my friends. We always try to make these an hour, but it just never works. So I've been doing an hour and a half lately. So maybe we'll make them shorter. I don't know. Maybe we'll keep them the same length. I don't know. We're changing stuff all the time here. But what's most important is that I'm getting you some answers, and that's why we're going to the questions right away. Because again, you can see me play anytime, and here I'm live, and I can actually answer your questions, right? So, friends, thank you so much for thank you so much for the great questions, for all the donations. We had so many donations today. It was really super kind, and we're gonna grab a bite. So, thank you for that. Don't forget to go to the post. Do not forget to get that free program, YourGuitarSage.com/30. And friends, I'm out of here. I'll see you in another video, and I'll see you next week.